Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Locks, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner.
Hey.
We've got quite the show today, talking about a little Jonesboro action. Update the Manufacturers Cup. There was a FPO disc golf rant on Instagram we got to go through with some fun responses. MVP Open added a triple Mando that could be mistaken as a barn. Music City Open is going to be the first to welcome DGPT standardized tees, which is really fun to talk about. And then, of course, we'll look at the top 10, as always. Before we get into all of that, I got to thank our sponsor of today's episode. Many disc golfers have tons of extra discs cluttering up their closets and cars, and there are very few storage products on the market that are designed specifically for golf discs and that don't waste any space. Unfortunately, the ones that do exist are terribly expensive, but thankfully, there is DiscBox. DiscBox is the only low-cost disc golf solution product on the market. It is a simple solution storage bin that holds up to 30 discs, requires no tape or glue, and is made from recycled material here in the USA. So go to discboxdg.com and you'll find quantity, discounts, wholesale options, multiple colors, and most importantly, no order minimum, so you can order just a single box if you want. DiscBox also makes great player pack items, so visit discboxdg.com today. Get your own collection organized and use code FOUNDATION for 15% off your order. Again, that's discboxdg.com and use code FOUNDATION for 15% off your order. Thanks again to DiscBox for sponsoring today's episode. So Jonesboro went down. FPO side, it was the Kristen Tatar show yet again. Holland Hanley came in second, and we had Evelina Salonen right behind her in third. And then on the MPO side, we had Anthony Barela taking it down. Back-to-back tournaments he's taken down now, with Ezra Aderhold, Ben Callaway, and Calvin Heimburg all tied for second. So let's talk FPO first. It was the dominant Kristen that we're kind of used to seeing. She had a 6-stroke lead heading into that final round. Ended up winning by 9. The final round there, first off, props to the commentary team because they tried adding drama as much as they could, but there wasn't really. No. There wasn't any. I mean, like Kristen at one point.
Did it get within like 8 or 9 in the last round?
Well, the problem was it started at 6, but Holland was the one that was behind her, right. And Holland had a bad front 9, good back 9, but a bad front 9. So she ended up still stayed in second, but at one point she dropped down to maybe even close to 4th. So it just didn't start off well for anyone chasing her down. Evelina Salonen tried her very best, and that was what there was one point where Kristen had a birdie putt that rolled away, and she took a bogey, and Evelina had a chance to take a birdie. It would have been a 2-stroke swing to cut it to 5 or 6. And so props to the commentary team. They were trying their best.
Hey, you see an opportunity, you gotta try and draw people in a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, It wasn't like it was not fun to watch because I like watching Kristen dominate, and there was an absolute dog pile for who's coming in second. But it was a Kristen Tatar show.
A dog pile for second.
I mean, they were just all in there. They were all in there throwing elbows and stuff. But
this is. I think we can. Kristen can probably breathe a deep sigh of relief. Okay, there was some. FPO. Kristen has starved us so much for storylines in the past year and a half or so that when she has a few bad events, I'm sorry, but we're going to start jumping to conclusions.
You have to.
Because we need something. And so she shut that down pretty quick. I predicted after winning that A tier that was going to be good momentum for her game, and she looked like her old self. Was on cruise control the entire event. I mean, came out shooting 1044.
Yeah.
So that's great news for her. Push to 1,000 rated, but yeah, I think this was the Kristen that we're used to seeing, the Kristen that nobody is beating when she's playing that well. Her game looked really nice and polished, and hopefully for her this is the theme going forward because now she quickly stomped out the little drought she had. I mean, what was it? Did she make it 3 events without a win?
Let's take a look at this.
Was it 3? Yeah, remind me because
she won Waco and then she lost Open at Austin, U.S. Women's, Texas States.
So 3
and came in second at 2 of those 3.
Right. So she stomped out her little Kristen-sized drought there in the nick of time to where now it's she's not even really off pace of what she would expect to do. Yeah, everything it's just everything's back to normal.
Yeah.
You have to lose a few more in a row before it starts to be this is just a different season for Kristen. Now, getting that win when she did, very timely, it's okay, Kristen is right back to where we thought she was. Now we can just forget about it and we'll resume jumping to conclusions if she loses a few more in a row. That's just that's just going to be the theme. Didn't Paige Pierce, wasn't this the event that Paige Pierce used to dominate?
Yeah, that's what they were showing the stats on DGN, and it was the largest amount of the largest amount of strokes players have won this event by, and Paige and Kat, like, it seems like if someone wins Jonesboro on FPO, they win by a lot.
It's interesting.
Like, I think Paige Pierce won by 13 once. She won by 9 or 10 another time. Katrina Allen won by 8. Kristen Tatar just won by 9. Like people kind of blow the field out here.
I feel like Kristen is just, when the wind picks up, that's just a huge benefit to her game because A, she spin putts and she's a pretty good spin putter, but B, because she plays such a controlled, smart game, I think she plays the wind a lot better than a lot of the other players we were predicting to do well here. They can power throw and maybe try to beat the wind, but when the wind picks up enough, you can't just out throw it. You have to play it a little bit well, maybe unless you're AB. But you have to play the wind to some extent, and so I think that probably just makes her even more effective. Sometimes when the wind picks up, you can see the field really bunching together. But in this case, that didn't really work out for anybody else.
Well, to be fair, Holland Handley was one of the players we expected to do good at this event, and she did. She came in second. Ella Hansen is always. I think I'm officially okay with not lumping Holland Handley and Ella Hansen together anymore. Yeah. Ella Hansen came in 14th.
I don't know if coming in second and losing by 9 is I don't know. Is that good though?
Well, compared to everyone else.
Yeah, relatively it is.
If Kristen's not there, she wins. That's how you have to look at these things.
I mean, it's
if you
crazy.
take Kristen out of the field, she won.
It's crazy. Like these FP, like you can take. I mean, how many strokes? How many far back do you have to get before we're not even sniffing? Like 20 strokes back.
20 strokes back puts you in at 20 is 13th, but fourth place was 15 strokes back.
Yeah. I mean, that's just bizarre.
Yeah, 3-round event.
That's even crazier.
Yeah. Because Holland and Evelina were 13 and 12 under, respectively.
Yeah.
And so that's 3 to 4 strokes around. But then you have Maria Oliva, which Maria Oliva was, let me see if I can pull up the whole scores, because she was shredding the back nine. And right around the time they start talking about it,
they posted about it.
She birdied 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so she had birdied, what is that, 7 of the last 8 holes, and she had a putt on 18, I think it was, to birdie to go 8 under on the back nine.
Yeah, and
they have the drone fly over to her card, and they talk about it on coverage. And then as soon as the drone got over her, I think she 2-putted from there. I'm pretty sure she ended up bogeying 18. Still a great back nine. Shot 6 under final round, moved up 10 spots. But I was like, man, that's just that camera curse. Even the drone can curse you. You just hear
that thing.
Oh shoot! I must be having a hot round. That's pretty tough. But yeah, so Holland did do kind of. I'm not gonna say what we expected because she didn't challenge Kristen, but no one was really challenging Kristen. The only other storyline I wanted to bring up is that Owen Scoggins, did not do good. Really, it was just round 1. She lost 15 strokes to Kristen round 1, and she ended up losing by 19. So the other 2 rounds she hung around,
so bad.
But she just came out the gates bad. I mean, 71. That's a 5 over par round 1, and she ended up at 3 under.
I mean, when Kristen comes out that dominant in the first round, it is you might as well wrap up the tournament. There's just nothing to be done about that.
Yeah, round 1, she had already opened up a 6-stroke lead.
Yeah, that's never. There's no way. There's no way she's blowing it.
Yeah. So you'd opened up a 6-stroke lead on Evelina, and then round 2, she made up another 5 on Evelina, but lost 2 to Holland. So that's where she still only had a 6-stroke lead. But it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. A 6-stroke lead, 1 round to play. The other stat they were trying to bring up before the tournament that was, again, props to the commentary and DGN for trying to make this interesting, was Kristen blew a 6-stroke lead to Holland at US Throw Pink.
Oh, that is true.
So they brought that up, and I was you know what? Hey, here we go. And then Holland just came out.
That's a great narrative. Good for them.
That's what I'm saying.
Good for them. They pulled that out of the hat.
DGN was trying their best, but it didn't matter when Kristen through 7 holes was 4 under, and Holland was 2 over. There you go. Now at that point her lead over her was 12. So through 7 holes, the lead had opened to 12.
Yeah,
didn't really matter at that point. Now on the MPO side, we've got to talk Anthony Barela for a little bit here, because what this guy's doing.
I'll talk about him for an hour.
What this guy's doing is incredible. First off, there were so many people in this event that through 12 holes, I had literally the thought crossed my mind of well, hey, you know what? Not everyone's able to keep up a streak like AB's on, because he was even par through 12 holes. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of other players kind of shredding, and it looked like AB was done. Like not like he was still going to be in the top 10, maybe top 5.
It didn't seem like it was his day.
But it just things weren't really going his way. It just didn't seem like he
it was
had
gonna be Ezra Aderhold's day.
He had no momentum. Yeah, Ezra was playing good. Calvin was playing fine. Ben Callaway was playing great.
Yeah, he was playing
and
great.
so there was enough players that were playing good that I was just like, well, AB literally you can't win them all, so it's okay. Like whatever, we'll see if AB can still get a top 5. Be impressive.
Yeah.
He then proceeded to go 6 under through the last 6, which included a layup for the win on 18 because he had an eagle putt from like 50 some feet, I think it was it hole 14? He had that eagle, 14 on that par 5. So including his layup, he could have went 7 under through 6, but he went 6 under through the last 6 to shoot 6 under for the round and win there.
Yeah.
He has now started at Elite Series and Majors 3 for 5. He's won 3 of the first 5 events. Crazy.
Nobody's supposed to be able to do that anymore. You're not supposed to be able to do that anymore.
The stat Mando posted, let me find this here. The only other people to do it, players to win 3 of the first 5 MPO major/elite events to start a season. You have Anthony Barela, who just did it, Paul McBeth in 2019, Ricky Wysocki in 2017, Ricky Wysocki in 2016, Paul McBeth in 2015, Paul McBeth in 2014, and Barry Schultz in 2006. That's it. That's the list.
Pretty good company.
So really the only players to ever do it is Anthony Barela, Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki, and Barry Schultz.
And keep in mind, it has been 4 years since that last one.
Yeah.
Or 5. Excuse me.
This is the 5th year, yeah.
And the field has gotten twice as good in that time period.
Yeah.
Like, it is so deep right now.
The years before that this has happened, 3 of the first 5, are all the years that people point to as the greatest seasons of all time.
Yeah.
You get Paul McBeth 2019, phenomenal season. Paul McBeth 2015, truly the greatest season of all time.
Yeah.
Paul McBeth 2014 was the beginning of his dominance. The 2016-17, that was the Ricky Wysocki era.
Yeah, and
I think it was it might have been 2016. One of those years was the year where if Ricky and Paul were both at an event, one of them won every time.
Mm-hmm. Well, think about even last year, Calvin won 3 of the first, 7 or 8?
No, so that's what I looked at, okay? Calvin, he already has more Elite Series or major wins than Calvin. When you think of that, one of them was Texas State, which was a silver event. Calvin only won 2 Elites or major. AB's already surpassed Calvin's win total for last year.
That's what I'm saying. And like we were talking, when Calvin came out the gate last year, we were talking about his season. Like, this is so ridiculous. Like, how could this happen? And AB is doing more than that. And you mentioned he did it on a tournament where he was just not really finding anything out there. Went into the day tied for the lead. The wind made that course extremely challenging. The greens were super tough. Guys were having a lot of trouble controlling the nose angle of their disc, the speed of their disc, and it was just stagnant all day long. But he was able to win at the end of the tournament, just rally the troops, win on a day where he wasn't at his best. And that's really frightening if you're the field, because it's one thing if a guy is just cruising, and then you can kind of tell yourself, well, he's just been playing hot.
No one's touching him.
Well, he's just playing hot lately. That's just how it is. But when he is as cold as ice all day long and then is able to just flip a switch, that's what really good players do, and that's awesome. Terrifying.
Have we heard anything about his this past off season for him? Like, did he change a practice? Like,
I don't know.
Has his practice been different or something?
Has he been on unnamed, the podcast we will not name? Has he been on there yet?
I think he has multiple times.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be curious to know, like, if he's what things he's kind of said about his I
have no
preparation
idea.
Because I have no idea. He's always had the talent. He's just
more consistent now.
Well, I think a part of it is just the final piece was learning how to win.
Yeah,
because he's always had this talent. That's why everyone said AB's next up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we saw him at hole 16 European Open major in his hands.
And his putting has just started to round out. Like, I think last year we noticed him in contention more because his putt had gotten so much better. And now, I mean, you see him inside the circle, you're confident.
This is also
there was a long time where that was not the case.
Is this only his 2nd or his 3rd year fully on tour? Because before he wasn't even fully on tour.
Yeah, I think it's his 3rd.
Yeah.
I think it might be his 3rd. But yeah, he was playing half off, half on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, he feels like he's had a long career because he started playing when he was like 16, but like he just started touring just a few years ago.
It's very interesting. Like, he was a player who's been in the disc golf spotlight for quite some time and was supposed to be the next up. But we kind of, like a few years ago, I think we kind of just decided, like, okay, AB is a good player. I think he's going to be a solid player, but he was never, I don't think in many people's mind, he was not like this next Paul McBeth, like prodigy type player anymore. He was more like, yeah, he's going to be solid. He's really talented. He could win on any given day.
Well, I mean, people always called him Mini McBeth, but I don't think we ever expected
early on we maybe did, but like when he was
Yeah.
like really young and winning, he won U.S. Worlds, U.S. Am in the same year. But like I'm saying, our perceptions had kind of settled to the bottom a little bit. But all of a sudden, it's like, what a quick shift in the ecosystem of disc golf, because we had kind of accepted that, Calvin is the guy right now. Gannon is kind of the up and coming star, and all of a sudden, Anthony Barela is like, no,
Forget about me.
Right now, he is the face of disc golf. Right now, he is the guy who is unbeatable. Like there's
Very much so.
There's nobody that can play him right now.
The final AB stat I wanted to bring up that just is referring to his season, not his thing, is he is having a better start. Not even like you can't really argue it than Kristen Tatar.
Yeah,
in MPO,
wow.
which is just crazy.
That is also huge.
Like,
if you would have told me that AB is going to win 3 out of the first 5, like I'd have thought you're crazy. I mean, he's already front runner for Player of the Year. Like he's already built a case for Player of the Year that is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah,
regardless of what happens.
I mean, having 3 wins when you come to the end of the season, you're going to be in the company of maybe one other guy, possibly 2, but not. It's hard to imagine. Like, the only other guys I could think of is if Calvin got hot or if Gannon Burr continues, because Gannon still came in top 10 this week. But if Gannon continues to be that type of player, like, those guys could get to 3. But beyond that,
It's
you
very
just don't
tough.
see it happening.
It's super tough.
Because even this weekend, there was. Every weekend there's a new. Ben Callaway was the guy this weekend. Ezra Aderhold has been the guy the past 2 weekends, where there's a new player that's just like, if it's their weekend, they just might win.
Right.
Which didn't used to happen in disc golf.
Yeah.
Like, that just wasn't really, like, you'd have like 1 or 2 of those a year. Now it's every event.
Yeah,
it's someone
it's
who's
gonna be
like,
somebody.
if it's that guy's weekend, he could win.
Heck, it was even kind of Simon Lizotte this week. I mean, Simon wins more frequently than those other guys. Obviously, they haven't won yet, but it was kind of like he was having. There was quite a few guys that were having themselves a weekend. It's just bizarre. It is such a crazy start. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
It will be interesting because I do like AB's game at Music City, which is this upcoming
Yeah,
weekend.
he almost won it last year. Like, I mean, because then it's the major right after.
Yeah,
I
but
think.
Champions Cup, I don't love his game for. But
he shot some good. Yeah, I mean,
he could go off.
The thing is, he's won so many times now, and he's been in contention at every event.
I'll tell you where I love
so you
him.
can't really hate him anywhere right now.
I'll tell you where I love him at the World Championships.
Yeah.
He could tear.
He would torch
It's
Ivy.
kind of
He
good
could tear
course, yeah.
apart Ivy Hill, and like I have seen so many power players do good at New London because
That's
it's
a
not
good point.
really a technical wooded course.
No.
It's like a placement course.
He's
but
hitting
like,
lines. Here's the thing: some of these courses that they're playing, especially.
we might just want to sign the check to him right now. Just Anthony
It's
Barela,
kinda-
congratulations,
Gosh, I
world
didn't even
champ.
think
It would
about
be cool because sometimes World like either goes to the person that you've been expecting for a while, or it goes to just a person that you're like, oh wow, I didn't expect them to be a world champion this year or ever. And but like for him to like be consistent and then just win worlds this year as well, that'd be kind of sick.
I think like a lot of people like to say that the early part of the tour is more of the open courses, and I do think in the sense of left to right off the tee, a lot of the courses have been more forgiving. Like you have a bigger window left right, but there has been a lot of courses that require up and down control, a lot of low ceiling shots, especially when the wind is picked up at some of these events. Like I have seen plenty of accuracy out of AB to think that he can be competitive at Northwoods. Northwoods, though, I think is going to be kind of a crapshoot because 4 rounds at Northwoods is just going to be who keeps their head screwed on straight. Like, guys are just going to get demoralized. So it's not even necessarily going to be about who can just stay hot for 4 rounds because I don't think anybody can stay hot for 4 rounds at Northwoods. It's Northwood, right?
Yeah, everyone just calls it puts
Northwood.
on it.
Sorry, I'm gonna be the guy.
Be the guy.
Northwood. It's Northwood.
I like that, Trev.
At Northwood, and so I think that is going to be more of a battle of mental fortitude, and maybe having like 2 rounds that are really hot, and then 2 rounds that are like acceptable. But I do think AB he has shot some hot rounds at that course in the past. I think he's gonna be competitive. I mean, he has to be. Like everybody. He's at
He
every
struggled
court.
a lot there last year. I just was looking, but he struggled in a lot of places.
I mean, that's what
year.
I'm saying. It's just like right now that you just don't see. You're not watching him win. You can't win right now at the level that he is winning and be like, yeah, but he's missing this and this right now.
No.
That's just not. You're not going to win 3 out of 5 and come top 5 in every event or whatever. Like you have to be playing good all around disc golf. He's scrambling. He's putting. He's good off the tee. He has a good forehand, backhand. That shot he threw on 17 to recover yesterday, and that's the thing too, like his arm strength. I mean, those par 4s at Jonesboro just were not far enough to overcome him because he could hit a tree 150 feet off the tee and then just launch a 500-foot hyzer and get to the basket. I mean, that is a crazy tool to have.
No, absolutely. The next player we have to talk about here is Ben Callaway. He had a chance to win it going into 18, sitting at 24 under, which is what AB wanted at, but he threw OB and then didn't make it from the drop zone.
So let's talk about 18, okay? So this was the old hole, what was it, 4 or 5 or something? It was like early in the front 9. I did not know, and I just didn't remember, or maybe it just wasn't happening. I didn't realize guys even had that hyzer option. Most of the people, I don't
think they used to.
I don't know.
I think people are just throwing farther now.
Well, here's the thing. Most of the people that I have seen on that hole successfully would throw the kind of flex up the middle. That's what Calvin was even doing.
Paul was going Undertaker straight at it, I feel like.
And that was the popular play. When I saw the first highlight posted, or actually saw it live the first time, AB throw that hyzer, I just was looking around thinking, like, this guy's a superhuman. Like, that's a 500-foot hole, and he just threw a hyzer so high and so wide. Like, I don't even understand how they're getting that basket. And then there was other players doing it and getting there. So, because like at first I was like, oh, that's just an AB thing, and like that's crazy. And like, no, there were other guys with good arms.
Yeah.
And granted, it obviously proved to be a very difficult shot. I actually kind of like, when I first saw it, I'm like, ooh, is that too easy? But no, you had to get it just the perfect height so that it could swing in, but not too high like Calvin's, because then he sawed it off inside. Actually ended up being a pretty cool shot. I wonder if that hole is playing significantly downhill.
It's definitely downhill.
Because like there's no, it's got to be playing closer to, I would say 440, 450.
I would guess. I mean, which is still a ridiculous height.
Right, but like the height that they were throwing it at, I was like, that can't be 500 feet.
Ben Callaway's always been one of the guys that has like sleepy power on tour. Where
I was shocked when I saw him line that up.
Yeah, I've heard it before of like people don't realize how much power Ben Callaway has, because to be fair, you just don't see it. Like, I mean, the guy's just not on coverage that often. This was his second podium ever in his career. His first one was last year at Jonesboro.
I think he's a good golfer. He just does not.
That's what he confuses me.
When you see him up there, really smooth putt, made some great putts down the stretch.
And clutch. He had so many tester putts where like this is make or break, and he was just drilling them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just must be really inconsistent, because you just rarely see him climb all the way up the leaderboard. A few times a year for sure. Like, he's no sleeper or anything, but yeah, he looked like he fit in.
That's what I'm saying.
With the guys who were around him up there at the top of the leaderboard were the best of the best. And I will say about hole 18, we talked about, how that hole would play, being a par 3. A lot of times you want to see a par 4 and par 5 on 18, create some decisions. I think it did end up playing the way that probably gave it a really good first impression to the people, because of how much drama it created. Because I think there was a reality where, let's say Calvin was going for, or AB goes first, throws it in the water, Calvin chips, just chips it short, lays up, and that's a pretty boring end. It played out the perfect way to where Calvin was forced to have to go over the water.
Yeah.
Callaway had to try and go over the water, and so it really played the best it could. So I think it probably got away with it, because I think that hole was probably not a perfect hole 18, but it ended up playing like an awesome hole 18.
Great. The only qualm I had with it was you did have this feeling like the tee shot, there was really only 2 results. You're on the green with a look at 2. I mean, unless you went for the layup, but going for it, you're on the green with a birdie look, or it's over.
Yeah.
Like, that was basically it.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
it was do or die.
It was a makeable putt from the drop zone, to where, like, the commentary, as soon as Calvin threw it OB, they said, well, that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not done.
Yeah,
because if Calvin makes that 100-ish footer, which is not crazy, then AB has to make a 30-some footer for the win. This is far from over. Once Calvin missed, then it was done. But I didn't like that. Like, it did feel like that. So you had just one tee shot.
It was very do or die.
And then it was over.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't quite like that for 18, because I do like when the drama, like, you have a dramatic moment like that, like, find a way to extend it. That's why I love par 4s or 5s to finish, personally.
Yeah.
I think a par 5 is a great finishing hole. It's a tough par 5 where it's eagleable, but it's also bogeyable, because then you have a 3-stroke swing possibly.
And it allows a guy to throw, it extends the drama, like you mentioned, because a guy can throw a not great tee shot and then a spectacular second shot.
Well, we saw it at Open at Austin with Luke Humphreys and Gannon Burke.
Exactly.
Where, like, Luke was in a much better position off the tee than Gannon, just looking at it wise. But Gannon goes for a crazy shot. Luke Humphreys messes up a more simple one, and next thing you know, a lot more drama.
A lot of times in coverage, your golden moment of coverage.
Or was that Texas State's? That was Texas State's. Yes, Open at Austin, Nicholas won.
Your golden moments of coverage, the part that is going to be the most exciting to your viewers, is like those last 3 holes, like your 16, 17, 18. You want to have as much time to really leave an impression, because you're going to have viewers that are tuning in just for the end of the stream.
Yeah.
So you want to use that moment as best you can, and you want to have as much time on that 18th hole to really sink people into the coverage and get them invested in this live coverage. You don't want it to just be like, oh, and it's over.
Yeah.
Like you really want the players are walking up and they're thinking about what's going to happen next, and the commentators are talking about what their options are, and they're going to Brian on the ground and he's talking about their lie. It's better to draw that out, I think, a little bit. I think the par 3, they picked a hole that was very difficult. It ended up playing the way it did, and like I said, so I think people will probably be listening and be like, what are you talking about? That was an awesome hole. But I think you're not considering what could have happened and what could happen if they continue to use that as a hole, which is, let's say AB goes out of bounds right away, and then it kind of deflates from there. It doesn't increase in tension. Whereas on a par 4, you're hard pressed to do something on a par 4 that your tee shot is going to put you completely out of it.
Yeah,
there's still a chance. You can still get up and down for par a lot of times.
You get up and down for par, and then it still puts pressure on Calvin's second shot. Yeah, but no, back to Ben Callaway. I mean, I think it's always puzzling when I see him in contention, just because, like you were saying, he fits in. He has power. His putt looks great when when it's on. It must be that he's streaky, because if I look at his season last year, I mean, he went 30th, 35th, 64th, 111th, 28th, then got second at Jonesboro. Then the next Elite Plus was 30th, then got 8th at DDO, then 12th at Des Moines, then 31st. He was all over the place. But when his game's on, he can play with the best in the world. So
he's a good player.
Very, very interesting there. But
we got to talk about Calvin a little bit.
Well, yeah, okay. I was going to talk Ezra first.
Okay,
let's talk Calvin first.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about the. I think there's an interesting narrative shift.
This is what I'm about to say.
Okay.
The line I have written here is Calvin Heimburg has now rattled off 3 top 5s in a row, making chess.com his only blip since June of last year.
Yeah.
He had a top 5 streak from June until chess.com.
Yeah.
He came in, 30-something at chess.com?
28th, I think.
34th.
Oh, 34th.
At chess.com, and then has now since went 3rd, 5th, 2nd.
Yeah.
So you take chess.com out of it, the guy's been living inside top 5 since June, but this was event to event, obviously not exactly a calendar year, but event to event a year since his last win.
So you got to say something about it. And here's the thing. I know the Calvin fans get fired up about us, but this event, Calvin lost this event. That's the bottom line is he was in a great position to win this event time and time again towards the end of that round. It's not just the final tee shot on 18. There were other opportunities for him to make plays, and then obviously, yes, on the tee shot on 18. But that's a tougher way to lose, when you go winless after a year and you're always in the top 5. Last year, it was one thing because he had won those events at the beginning of the season, so it was a little easier to be like, I think he's just in contention all the time. He's a proven winner, blah, blah, blah. But the streak gets that long, and it's just it's going to happen naturally. And it's, you go out to this event, you're in position, you lose right down the stretch. I don't know. It's not a great look for him.
Yeah.
And that narrative just continues to build and build and build. And I'm not, like I said, he's won enough times on tour that you can't just sit here and be like, well, he just doesn't know how to win. But sometimes, man, that can start to add up. A whole year since Calvin Heimburg has won an event is crazy with the amount of times that he has been in contention to win. That's insane.
Yeah, because the technical date for his last win last year was April 28th through April 30th.
And threes that man has on his stat sheet is crazy as far as finishes. Listen, living on the podium is great, but these disc golfers, they don't play for the podium. I hate to break it to you. They play to win. I know Calvin plays to win. He wants to win. And I'm sure that's starting to add up a little bit. I like Calvin a lot, and I don't think that he's some loser. Like I said, the guy has won plenty of tournaments. But we went from discussing why can't Calvin win the major to why can't Calvin get another win?
Yeah.
And here's the good news. Here's the good news if you're Calvin. The good news is because you hang around every week, eventually, now this doesn't happen as often anymore. Nowadays on MPO, you pretty much have to go out and take it. But one of these days, you're probably just going to be hanging around and AB doesn't make that shot. And some other guy doesn't make his shot, and you get to win because of that. You played good enough golf. If you hang around the top 5 long enough, you're going to get a win.
One's going to fall to you, yeah.
But there's something to be said about the fact that it has been this long, because I could have said that 3 months into this drought, and now it's been 12 months. And so, something's got to give.
Yeah, if you look at Calvin's one thing with Ben Callaway's scorecard I just remembered is that 18 was his only bogey of the day, which also sucks.
Yeah, that's just not good.
I think he cracked under pressure a little bit. He threw a fine shot, just swung it a little too wide for the height he had on it. But anyways, back to Calvin. The 2 blips on his scorecard.
18?
Ben Callaway?
Oh, Ben Callaway. I thought you were talking about Calvin. I was like, he didn't swing it wide enough.
Back to Calvin, though. His 2 blips, hole 10, double bogey.
Yeah.
That, if you want to point to it, that technically cost him the tournament because that's the 2 strokes he needs to win. And then 18. The 18 tee shot was really just never online. Like it was
so
too
high
far.
and inside.
Yeah, it was just too far inside.
Yeah, I think, and like most players just wanted to take that hyzer. I think it's just anytime you're under pressure, I think it's just too tempting to just rip it up there. But I think the amount of height that shot was demanding. I don't know. Like it was a very, very tough to get it as high as you needed to and yet push it far enough. Like, I mean, when you see, like, AB obviously was able to muscle it there, but that line, I don't know about it, man.
Calvin Heimburg
was
on 18 this weekend went 3-4-4.
Yeah.
So he didn't birdie it a single time this weekend.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. Like,
but I mean, there was no choice.
I'm not sure exactly what the wind was doing on that hole at that time either, because like it may have just been super favorable to not try and play it low. But I was disappointed in that result for him. I really thought that he was going to make it interesting, and then just never gave it a chance. Like, I mean, super high and inside. It was an awkward hyzer. I mean, that tree did make it awkward. I think some people were like, "Oh, I hate that there's a hyzer there," but like, when you had the 3 guys who were playing the best in the tournament go 1 for 3 on that shot down the stretch, I think that tells you that it wasn't just a piece of cake.
No, it wasn't an easy shot.
It was a very difficult shot.
Yeah. Now, Ezra Aderhold has now back-to-back podiums.
I was
this
bummed
is actually
out for Ezra, man.
I think they said this was the first time in his career he's had back-to-back top 10s, and they happen to both be podiums here. Had a chance to take it down on 18, but just missed his step putt too low. That would have put him at 24. Now, obviously, if he hit that, AB would have had a putt to win still. But score-wise,
24 would have held up probably pretty good. I mean, that AB's putt was going to be tough.
Yeah, but so score-wise, Ezra, just looking at how it fell out, had a chance to put himself in a playoff, but just missed the step putt.
Gosh.
But, you got to be excited for him that he's able to put these back-to-back weeks together because, like, Ezra's been one of those guys similar to Ben Callaway where when his game's on, he fits right in, but he's just up and down a little bit. Yeah. And this year, he's been a little bit more consistent
His
overall.
putting has gotten a lot better, and he's been a threat from outside the circle, which I think is been kind of a new strength to his game. Made some really great putts yesterday. Missed a couple that he probably wish he had back. The thing about Ezra is he's always a little stronger on this first half of the tour.
Yeah.
And I think next week, because of that, I think next week is a very big week for him because I think it's a tournament that he can absolutely win. And I think he'll want. I don't know. Is he playing OTB Open this year?
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, I'll say that would be another good one for him to grab. But I think there are a few more opportunities out here. Heck, Portland would work out for him. I really hope he gets one because he's getting very close.
Well, I don't hate him at Worlds either because again, Worlds is a tricky one because you see New London and you instantly think woods.
No.
But you can drive semi-trucks through these fairways.
It's really more about angle control than it is about woods. It's about getting your disc to land and stay.
The woods kind of come into play. It's almost similar to the courses they're playing right now right now they have a lot of OB that's making the fairways. We just have woods that make the fairway, and it's like if you can throw far enough and your disc stay in those landing zones, it's scoreable.
I say it feels tight for us because we suck, but like for pro players, New London is not super tight most of the course. It's just your landing zones are delicate, and sometimes the OB is very close, so you do have to keep it on the fairway. Ezra, though, I think he's changed his narrative a little bit this year because he's throwing really accurate, really precise, like awesome shots that really just speak to how much he's improved his game. He's not just some power player anymore. He's throwing some really delicate, like hyzer flip turnover, tight line shots that have really impressed me. Like you see him wind up to throw, and then you expect one thing, the disc comes out of his hand, and you're like, wow, that was a really touchy, like well thrown shot. I think he approaches the game really intelligently. He makes really smart decisions, and I would love to see Ezra get a win. I think the good news for Ezra is he's still getting better, and I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet.
Yeah, no, I gotta agree. Okay, the final player I want to talk about
he's younger than us.
Before we move, I was watching the Masters, and they threw up Scotty Scheffler's age, and I realized that he's 27.
Okay,
I'll be 27 next month, and I was like, how am I the same age as that guy?
Well,
he looks
that
so much older than
Ludwig guy is 24, and I'm thinking to myself, I was 24 last year, and I wasn't almost winning the Masters.
Yeah. Well, it's also depressing.
I wasn't on TV winning a golf tournament.
You now watch March Madness, and I'm like, I'm significantly older than all of those players.
It's a big realization.
It's weird to think about.
I'm older than a lot of the NBA.
My biggest age realization like that was I grew up playing video games where you'd create your own player, and you could choose their birth year, but obviously they couldn't be any younger than like 18 most of the time, or like if you're playing a soccer game, maybe like 16. And whenever the first time that I could get my age to, or that 1999 was like older than the minimum age. Like it was like, no, you got to be born in like 2000. I mean, at this point, gosh,
2006.
Exactly. Exactly. Like that's what you'd have to set your birth date to. Because when I first started playing these games, it would be like, oh, I got to set it back to 1994, 1995 to make it like the young player. But now it's like, no, 1999 is old.
Yeah.
Oh, 2006.
21-year-olds are 2003.
Because my brother is about to turn 21.
It's so funny because there's so many people listening that are like obviously much older than us, and they're like, I mean. Like,
hey, we at least are in the 90s though.
Well,
we're not completely
The
attached.
thing is that our age is like whenever it starts to set in. Like by the time you're in your 30s, you kind of like
you've already dealt with
understand it a little bit. Like it still happens, I'm sure. But like whenever you
start getting when you get on the second
in your like
half towards
mid
30,
20s and late 20s, that's whenever you're like. That's whenever it really starts to set in. Because you're like, I'm not super young anymore.
Well, you start that downhill climb towards 30, and it's like, oh boy.
I'm excited for 30. Right now, 40 kind of seems a little far.
I think the 30s are going to be great years of my life. Don't get me wrong. Like, my kids will be older. Like, the 30s are going to rock.
Like, if you look at people...
30 leads to 40.
But if you look at...
None of the ages bother me. It's just weird to think about.
People in their 30s is when it's like... They got their stuff together.
Yeah, no, 30s is typically like...
so I got to figure out how to get my stuff together.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot of pressure, though. Yeah, I know. I got like 5 more years to get my stuff together. But, yeah, no, the 30s...
5 years is a long time, though.
It is.
A lot can happen in 5 years.
It is, although I'll tell you, the last 5 went real quick.
That they did.
And the 5 before that as well.
That's time, baby. Okay.
Existential crisis, new segment.
We got to talk Mason Ford's start to his year.
He's popping.
So he started at 47th at chess.com, but since then he has lived in the top 20. So for the first 5 events to come in the top 20, he's went 4th, 16th, 7th, 10th. Very impressive stretch from this player.
Yeah, I like Mason. I don't know that he's going to win.
I honestly don't feel like this stretch of the tour is Mason's stretch. Like, he's not a super powered thrower.
Yeah.
He's a very much like placement smart golfer.
Yeah,
so to see him performing at this level on these courses, very impressive.
That's a good point. I'll hold my opinion on that because I think he could win maybe on the back half of the tour. And he's solid. Good for him. I think he's been a little underrated for a while because I think he's been a pretty clean player. Like, just kind of hangs around, keeps the disc in play, solid putter. But yeah, I like Mason a lot. I hope it would be awesome to see him have some more success on tour, and he has had a great season so far. Him and Val, best disc golf couple. Are they the best?
Sure.
Of all time? No. Current.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Nate Dawson, Valerie Jenkins.
Oh, true.
Guys, I got a new opinion on Nate Dawson.
Okay,
I've changed my opinion on Nate Dawson. I've always liked Nate Dawson. I still like Nate Dawson.
So you don't like him anymore?
No, my opinion has changed in the sense that because he was on with Sexton, it was like essentially what I would configure as almost my dream team. I think my dream team I've changed to, I love Terry. Terry, if you're listening, I love you so dearly. But
you're talking about as a commentator.
I would like to see.
I thought you were talking about him as a disc golfer.
No.
Okay.
I would like to see Eisenhood get in the group that was in last night and see what happens. Terry did a good job though, because especially when Terry is surrounded by Doss and Sexton, he does a pretty good job. But so it was Terry, Doss, Sexton, and Aderhold on the ground, which is like great. What I've decided about Nate Doss is because I think I almost whipped up a meme last night. It felt like Sexton was like his grandson and would be like, "Oh no, Grandpa, you meant to say is this." Like it felt like Doss has a lot of really good ideas, but can't ever get them out of his mouth right. He always misspeaks or like just says something in reverse of how he meant to say it, and he has really good ideas and inserts them at the correct time but says them wrong, and then Sexton's got to be there to like kind of correct him a little bit. And it felt like towards the end, I'm like, it feels like Sexton's his caretaker right now. And Nate Dawes is not that old. Let's be clear. I think he's in his 30s.
I think he I
think he's like in his late 30s.
I don't even know if it's late 30s. But I remember every time I look this up, he's younger than I think.
And I resonate with Nate Dawes because I can be the same way where I get all these thoughts and get really excited, and they start coming out of my mouth before I even know how to say them, and so I misspeak a lot.
But your job is very different than his job.
Exactly. So, like, I'm not getting scrutinized for saying it over commentary. Also doesn't help that I was watching the Masters this weekend as well, so you're getting, like, the best of the best of the best in the world at commentary at the same time. But I thought they did a good job overall. It was not, like, bad or anything. It just, like, I kind of realized that about Nate Dawson. Like, if he could just get his thoughts out more eloquently, consistently, like, I think sometimes they don't come out the way he wanted them to, he would be really good because he does have good ideas.
He is 38.
Yeah, he retired early.
He retired early.
Bevel Brewery, baby.
Yeah.
I don't think we give him enough credit for how fun that name is.
Is there any other player's performance that surprised you that we didn't talk about?
Shout out Gavin Babcock. He's kind of been turning up. And hey, Dickerson. Got to talk about Dickerson because and Tom. There's actually guys. There's actually guys here because our Tom. Shout out to him. He's never really around the top 10. That was fun to watch. I like watching him play.
Mr. Bazooka.
And Dickerson. We were kind of right. He's continuing to have that sneaky little season.
Yeah. Hey, he's got to win Music City.
He's got to win that. Yeah. Now you have
1 out of 2.
Do you want to change the odds?
No.
Do you want to double down?
Why? No. I'm locked in. I'm happy.
He's locked.
It's 1 to 4 is the odds. You get 4. I would get 1.
Yeah.
You don't want to change it to 2 to 8.
No.
Oh.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Ooh.
I like 1 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good
I would say things are kind of lining up for him. He's been playing good golf.
Albert Tom started the season 17th at chess.com, 72nd at Waco, 56th at Open at Austin, 57th at Texas State, and then 6th.
Yeah, no, he's
here
not
at Jonesboro.
consistently around, but I like watching him wear that hat with the him of a silhouette with him shooting a bazooka. That's fun.
I like Albert Tom.
Yeah, he seems like a cool guy.
He's fun
he
to watch.
smashes.
He does seem like a cool guy.
Yeah.
All right, Manufacturer Cup update.
It'd be a little change.
Big week for Discraft here. Huge week for Discraft. They got 59 points, passing Discmania to take the points lead for the first time since week 1 because they were able to get 3 players in the top 3 with AB, Ben Callaway, Ezra Aderhold, and they were also able to add Chris Dickerson in there. So they are now at 175.5 points on the season. Discmania falls. They were only able to land Gavin and Gannon, both tied for 7, so they only earned 8 points. They lost 51 points to Discraft there. So
MVP
they're now
gets on the board though.
They are now at 150.5 points. MVP and Latitude earned their first points of the year with Simon Lazard and Albert Tam finishing in there. So now MVP has 10 points, Latitude has 8.
Nice.
And there are currently 4 players who have earned all their points for their sponsor. Matteo for Westside, Mason Ford for Mint, Simon Lazard for MVP, and Albert Tam for Latitude 64. So the current rankings, we have Discraft in lead 175.5, Discmania in second 150.5, Innova in third at 50, Prodigy in fourth at 27.5, Westside at 19.5, DD at 19, Mint at 16, Mason Ford at 16, DGA at 14.
Mason Ford.
MVP at 10 and Latitude at 8.
The fact that Mint is beating out Latitude and MVP is so funny. And I know Eagle's coming back. Hey, T-minus 1 more event until Eagle comes back. Finally.
I think he makes the event. I think he makes his debut at Music City.
No, I looked it up like 2 days ago.
I'm pretty sure he's doing the skins match at Music City.
I swear I looked it up.
I swear he's playing Music City.
Did he change it?
No, I think he's always been planning to play
my
Music
gosh,
City.
I feel like an idiot. Where is it? Eagle on Tour. Champions Cup. First event is Champions Cup.
I think
on this thing. So he might have changed it.
Because I'm pretty sure he's playing.
But is he playing the skins and not playing the event?
No,
though?
I think he's playing the event. I think we had this exact conversation.
Okay, but no, the
Music City Open, first event back.
So why did he not? When did he update it? There it is. Edit. He edited it at some point.
There you go.
Okay, thank goodness. All right, well then that's
Eagle McMahon's back next week.
Yeah, baby. That's gonna be exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Eagles back. Any predictions? I guess we'll save for the preview show.
Yeah, save for the preview show.
Save for the preview show.
We don't want a preview on Grip Lock.
That's true. If you're going to be at Music City, so will I. I'll see you there.
Dude,
Ooh,
okay, everybody
Big Hunt in the
walk
flesh.
up to Hunt, give him a big old hug, dude.
Please don't hug
he
me.
loves hugs.
I don't mind hugs. It's just socially awkward situation.
Don't all do that, guys. That's messed up.
I will think that I know you from high school or something.
What do you
like,
want?
Hey, man.
You want like a fist bump?
No,
want,
you
like,
should
to
give
be
him
dapped up.
give
Like, what
him
do you want?
Fist
money.
bump's great.
Fist bump.
Give
yeah.
him money, and then we'll give all the money to Silas. Silas gets everything, man.
Yeah, Silas gets everything around here, dude. He's got a beam.
We should bring Silas on for a second because he came in this morning and had the rant of a lifetime about the Disc Golf Pro Tour coverage.
Oh.
Should we bring him in?
Silas,
Silas, come here.
do you want to come on about the Pro
Come
Tour
on and talk
coverage?
about the coverage. You better put your money where your mouth is. I'm telling you this.
Oh.
He was fired up.
Have my seat.
He was fired up this morning.
This is great.
I like he was absolutely yelling.
He's not going to fit in the shot.
I was
but
trying to
it'll be
like
all right.
defend it.
All right.
Talk about what you said this morning.
Hello, grip lockers. I haven't been on here. Well, no, probably have.
Hit him with it, Silas.
Okay, here's the thing about the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I was watching the highlights of they like post YouTube highlights like after every tournament, and I mean this footage looked awful. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, how much does that cost a month? How much are people paying?
Wait,
for that?
Silas, before you even go any further, I want you to give
That's not HD.
No, I want you to give yourself some. I want you to give yourself some credit as well. Would you let everybody know?
Credential
what you do?
yourself.
Yeah. What
Credential
is
yourself a
one
little
of your
bit.
part-time jobs?
I work in sports broadcasting
Yes.
as a freelancer.
Mm-hmm. And
You've worked for what
give
kind of
us-
conferences have you worked in?
Yeah.
I've worked for ESPN, ESPN2, the ACC network.
All right, now
There
they
we
know.
go.
Now they know.
Now
the
that you guys know
now
he knows
they know
what he's
that
talking
you're not
about.
an idiot.
Now
Continue to
continue.
rant.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, this is they say it's HD and it's probably HD resolution, but that picture is the grainiest. It looks like your grandma just pulled out a camcorder and she started filming hole 18 on the course, and you got Anthony Barela looking like 80 grit sandpaper on the camera. Like, what are we doing? I just looked at those highlights and I was just so baffled that people are paying for this, and that's the kind of product that the people at home are paying for.
I was
and
like
that they're
trying
getting.
to. I was trying to defend him, and
It's
Silas
just-
wasn't having it for a bit, dude.
No, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, and it needs to change. And even the shot at the end with Terry, like making his
That should have been their best
closing
shot.
remarks, that should have been their best shot.
Silas, it's your
And it
fault,
was the
man.
same. It was grainy as all
It's your
get
fault.
out.
They tried to hire you.
Man,
You could be the
it's-
change they need.
It's just so frustrating.
Thank
I'm
you,
like, why are
Silas.
people paying for this?
Thank
But
you, Silas.
that's my rant.
I love
Thank
that
you.
take, and I think that everybody will
needed to
really
bring
enjoy
that
that
in.
rant.
Can
Thank
you
you.
can you go get us a Silas select disc? I forgot to ask you.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
I'll get that.
Awesome. That was Silas, everybody. He came in so fired up this morning that I had no choice but to
Love you,
ask
Silas.
him to
My
bring that
name's Hunter
take.
Thomas. I'm one of the people who pays for Disc Golf Network.
Me too. I kept telling him I was like,
Here's what I'll say.
yeah.
I had the exact opposite thought this weekend. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm watching live disc golf on my couch, and it looks freaking good.
No,
That's what I was thinking.
I told him that I was like Silas, man. I'm like, you understand? We have low standards here in disc
Yeah,
golf, man.
it's true.
We just want to get our hands on
Some
some
of us-
moving pictures, man.
some
We
of
don't
us-
really care what it looks like.
Some of us come from the era of Smashbox. with
Yeah.
just one camera out there, Terry walking behind him, breathing in the mic, and for us people, gosh dang, it looked crystal clear out there. It looked great. I thought.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's real talk.
But anyways, okay, well there you go. That's Silas's opinion. You know, let us know in the comments down below if you pay for Disc Golf Network, are you happy? Just let us know.
I like it.
I for one, I'm happy.
I think it's nice.
I think he
will
was
say-
particularly talking about the picture quality.
Yeah.
So
He's
they
got
might. There's a lot more that
he's
they
got a
might
lot more
offer.
to say about it, but
Yeah.
you know,
I
no time for all that.
am curious. Like he's watching the highlights, which should I'm surprised they're pulling that straight from the live and not what they use for Jomez, because like they're using those cameras for Jomez.
Good point.
So I'm surprised they're pulling the highlights just straight from the live.
That's a good point.
That's an interesting. I guess to be able to get them up quicker, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably less work.
But
Have
I've seen people complaining about the DGN app.
Okay.
But the problem, and this has been my problem for
Silas.
into a backpack. There we go. That's fancy.
Little product placement. I like it.
The problem that I've ran into with the DGN app is that I never have the problem everyone else has.
Same.
And so it's hard for me to sympathize with people because like it works great for me.
I have not had an issue with
Like,
it
I just-
either. I have in the past had some issues with it, but
But
not,
like people
not
complain about
recently.
like it won't play, they go to skip and it does blah blah blah
I believe
whatever, and
them.
like I'm not saying I don't believe them. I want to be outraged with you, but I
Yeah.
can't. It works great.
We love a good outrage.
Yeah, it works great for me. I hit play, I watch it on my phone, I switch devices easily, I log devices out on my phone and log it in somewhere else on my phone. Like it does everything they promised me. So
Hunter would love for it to break. That way you could send out.
Hunter has a
tweet about it
check
or
for
something.
$5 million in his back pocket right now from the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
yeah, I think he's gonna bounce. What do y'all think?
Hunter, I don't want to rush you here.
Don't rush me.
Have you
rushing.
brought up the topic of the carport yet?
I have not. I
Are
have
you
not.
still planning on getting to it?
We're gonna get there.
All right, I'll halt.
Okay, halt.
That's funny. We're
Before
calling
we
it
get
carport. I
to
like
anything
that.
else, I want to just take a moment to remind you all that we have launched Foundation Care, now included with all disc purchases over at foundationdisc.com. So if you
I
want to try,
can't believe we're doing this.
If you want to try a new mold or a different plastic, but you're worried you might get stuck with it if you don't like it, worry no more. Foundation Care allows you to try the disc out risk-free for 30 days and ship it back to us to exchange for another if it just isn't for you. You can take it out to a field, take it out to the course, let your buddies use it, whatever. And if you decide it doesn't do what you wanted, just Just exchange it for a disc you already know you love. Nothing special is required when purchasing as long as you're in the USA. Your purchase is already covered from here on out, and that includes in-person as well. If you're buying from our in-person store here, not the Charleston store yet, if you're buying from our in-person store here in Lynchburg, you just have to make sure you have a customer profile with us. That's the only requirement here. Online, you already do when you check out. So there you go.
I literally had to check myself to make sure that that's how that worked, because it sounds too good to be true. Because I was talking to a guy whenever we had our store opening on Friday, and he was talking to us about trying to find a disc that would fly a certain way, and he had a Glory in his hand. And he was like, I really want to try this out, but he was like, because he already had like 4 other discs in his hand. He's like, do I want to spend an extra $25 to try a disc out though? And I was like, oh, well, we do this in person as well, but we on every order for free is something called foundation care. And I told him, you can go play around with it. You can go like throw it as much as you want. And if it didn't fill that spot, but you know that a Thunderbird would, or you know that a Firebird would, or you just want another Raptor, then bring it in. You can get one of those. Like, it's not a big deal. And it like, I can't believe, I would have loved to have that. I know I say that all the time, but it's awesome.
Much in the clutch. Before we get into Trevor's trivia, though, we got to talk about this rant from Rebecca Menick. She posted, she's an FPO player, semi on tour. She's actually, I think, semi local to us, but it was a 10-minute long rant on Instagram. I watched it this morning, so I can kind of fill you in on what she says, but she explains most of it in the caption that I'm about to read. So, her Instagram handle is AceBaby, if you want to see it for yourself.
Thank you.
Disc Golf Pro Tour. This is complete BS. I shouldn't have to deal with this crap. Poop emoji at Disc Golf Pro Tour. Sigh emoji.
Amen.
There you go. I should be able to have as much time to warm up at the course as needed. Either let the players with super early tee times park at the course, which would be the most reasonable option, or at the very least have the shuttle running much earlier so anyone who wants to more than 45 minutes at the course to warm up can do so. And no, it's not the same as trying to warm up somewhere else, getting cold, being shuttled to the course, and then having less than an hour to prepare for my/hour tee time. Especially considering what happened at Texas State's when the PDGA staff member Bill Newman made it pretty clear that he wanted to get players stroked by not even allowing the announcer to call me over when I had been right by hole 1 for over 20 minutes. Therefore, I plan to be on top of the hole 1 at least 10 to 15 minutes early every time, just so the PDGA doesn't try to stroke me for being quote-unquote late, which of course takes time away from my warm-up. Kind of makes it seem like they want to give out stroke penalties. Obviously, Bill doesn't speak for the entire PDGA, but he was there as the PDGA marshal who represents the PDGA. So just another thing making it more difficult on me, a player, and taking away my warm-up and practice time, which makes a huge difference when you're teeing off at 7:22 a.m., moved to 7:34 a.m. last minute.
So she had 45 minutes to warm up on the course.
Yes.
So my starting opinion is, yes, should everybody in theory have... Well, so whenever you're the first tee time, you're never going to have the same amount of time to warm up as everybody else, because that's just like, at some point, it's going to be dark outside. At some point, they have to open things up. So it has to be established what is an adequate amount of time to warm up on the course. I think the biggest issue with her qualm is that most people would agree that 45 minutes is a plenty of time to warm up on the course.
Well, it actually ends up being...
So first off, that's my starting point, I guess.
I don't know... She's explained, but I don't know fully, because most of this post was about the shuttle thing, and she threw in kind of what happened last week.
Okay.
I don't know fully, because that whole situation seems to be completely different
I don't really care about
from
that
this.
one.
That situation, it sounds kind of messed up, but you're only hearing one side, so I have no idea. This situation, she explained the details, and she's very upset about it. And I understand why she's upset. I just disagree at the end of the day. Because if I'm the Pro Tour, right, my first tee time, 7:22 a.m., the shuttle, she's the one who I got this information from on her post. The shuttle ran an hour early. Like, that seems very reasonable. If I'm the Pro Tour, and I probably have a volunteer running the shuttle, if the first tee time 7:22, having the shuttle run an hour early for what she claims is a 5 to 10 minute drive to the course.
That's what I'm saying. If she had been like, I only had 15, 20 minutes to warm up, I'd be like, that's messed up. 45 minutes is a long time to warm up on the course.
Well, because I also feel like if you're logistically looking at this on a paper, and you asked me without seeing this, like, first tee time 7:22, what time should the first shuttle run? I'd be like, well, ideally an hour before would be the first shot. I was trying to think through this because I ran a marathon back
in... It's not even daylight.
Yeah, I ran a marathon back in January. Okay, and the start time for that marathon was like 5:15. I'm pretty positive and it was about a 10-minute shuttle at Disney. I'm pretty positive the shuttle started running an hour, maybe an hour and a half beforehand.
Well, like I said, it can only get so early.
Well, you can only warm up so much.
Yeah.
Is the other thing.
That's my biggest thing. Is like I get everybody has different warm up preferences, but 45 minutes on the course is
and
plenty of time.
There was 2 pros that chimed in here. I'll read these in a second, but one important note to make note of is where they had this player parking. They provided ample space to warm up there.
That's also what I heard. So like people were saying like, okay, you could have warmed up, taken a 10-minute shuttle ride, and then continue warming up. Like,
I don't think
you're not going to get ice cold.
You're not going to get cold
minutes.
in 10 minutes. If this was a 30-minute shuttle, fully agree. But my problem is like, at what point is it, like now you're asking a volunteer, because there was really no sympathy shown to the shuttle driver in the post, and like I almost guarantee he was a volunteer or she was a volunteer, and like I'm gonna ask them to show, like if they would have shown up legitimately at 5:30, so you had 2 hours before the first tee time, there wouldn't have been anyone on that first shuttle. Maybe one player, but like the most players on that 7:22 tee time is 4. So like I don't know, giving them an hour seems plenty to me. And it just didn't really.
Well, and here's the thing: after round 1, I know a pretty good way to not have an early tee time.
This was round 1, to be fair.
I know. I said after, round 1.
She did DNF after round 1 as well. So I don't know if she got injured. I don't know what happened after that. But
I'm not gonna make fun of her.
But yeah. Anyways, this was round 1. Holly Finley chimed in. Early tee times get a short window of light to warm up. We often stretch and stuff in the dark. With our growing field of women, we are running out of daylight hours to compete when grouped with the men on tour. It's a great thing. Growing pains. This sort of public blast to the powers that give us these platforms to perform on might not be the best method. A private discussion amongst the group Holland mentioned is a perfect first step. "Quote unquote," just keep swimming.
I think that's a pretty mature response, because it's like, this is the reason your tee times are so early is because you're being grouped in with the men's game, and a large part of that is how you're able to have this tour. Yep. Like, if they were to separate the tours or separate the courses, a lot of things would change very drastically. So I think that's a pretty reasonable response.
And then
Holly Finley.
Holland Handley said, "Totally understand your frustration, especially with the 2-stroke penalty and the lack of clarity about what counted as the quote-unquote starting area at Texas State's. Also, totally fair you want a full hour to warm up in the warm-up area. I'm always a little anxious about shuttles as well. However, we had the shuttle scheduled 3 days early, and there's plenty of space at the player lot to stretch and throw while you wait for the shuttle. Lastly, the Pro Tour has provided a place to discuss issues amongst players and staff and provide feedback, and they always do their best to accommodate us. It's the DGPT Players page on Facebook. Tag Phil Delonier and Evan Shaper. She definitely misspelled this guy's last name, but Evan something. Those are the guys with the power to make changes to the shuttle and to standardize the application to the 5-minute rule."
That's a reasonable response.
Your first result is like going and blasting on social media. Probably not the way
She
to go.
did say in the video that she had talked to 2 Pro Tour staffers at the course and then a third, but this video was posted, I think, immediately after. I don't think she gave them a chance to.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
The thing is,
we were just tagging this a bunch is the whole reason I brought it up.
I don't know a lot about this, but everybody on Reddit was saying that this is pretty much a bi-weekly occurrence from this player.
Oh, I have no idea.
That's everybody was saying.
This is the first one I've been tagging.
Everybody was saying that this is basically like this happens every single week, basically. So I'm not finding. I look for the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not finding anything to sympathize with.
I went into this of like, okay, a player got screwed over. Let's hear it out. But then as the details start coming, I'm like, I mean, if I was a tournament director, I'm making the exact same decision. Like an hour, I'm saying 5 minutes away for player parking. I'm going out of my way to provide a shuttle. An hour before the first tee time. Like, that just sounds right.
Because you don't need to go out there and take notes on the course because you should have already been practicing on the course.
Well, you also, like, you can't really warm up on the course.
Yeah. So like, so
you can warm up at the course, but, like, again, if it was a 20-minute shuttle.
5 or 10 minutes away, that just doesn't make
If it was a 20-minute
sense.
shuttle and there are genuine concerns then of, like, why even warm up? I'm going to get cold sitting for 20 minutes. Then, sure, let's make sure we run. But you're not getting cold in 5 minutes.
No.
Like you warm up and you're going to be still, maybe you just hit another stretch as soon as you get there to make sure your body's good to go. But then you got 55 minutes.
Hit him with it, Hunt.
So I don't know. That one didn't land on me. I wish I could have. I wish I could have gotten in the corner with you, Rebecca. Picked up some pitchforks.
Yeah, listen,
and
I'll take
had
a side,
good time.
man.
But
well, that's what like at first whenever you were reading it, I felt like I was definitely siding with her. But then I just started thinking more about the actual numbers that she was putting out, and that was 45 minutes and 5 or 10 minutes away.
The 45 minutes is contingent on it being 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes, and they pushed her tee time back 10 minutes, which would have made that be 55 minutes, even with all those grouping.
So I care about.
Yeah, I want to be
like,
there. I'm
I care about what they care about, but
then
also
I'm
at the same
like-
time they just it seems kind of fair.
Exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang. Like
We should just open up a disc golf complaint hotline. For the sake of this show, we just like have.
I think it's called Twitter.
Yeah, well, basically, we just have a set place where people can send in their complaints from any level of event, and we just decide whether or not it was justified or not.
I like that
Just a
people
fun little
tag
segment.
Grip Locked or tag you in stuff on Twitter. It really helps us have things to talk about.
It does. It does. Keep
Great.
doing it.
Keep tagging us,
Anytime
guys.
you
we
bring
love getting
up-
tagged.
anytime
Unless you're
you
claiming
bring up
we
a
stole your
post-
Twitter meme because we didn't.
Yeah, that one wouldn't happen this morning.
Anytime Hunter brings up a
Guys,
post
come
from
on.
Twitter or from Reddit or whatever, I get really excited to talk about it because it's always so much fun.
I got tagged in something this morning where someone was claiming that I stole their whole rant, and it was from a post where someone was claiming I stole their golf meme.
Listen, guys.
Tiger Woods shook hands with a tree. It looked
Yeah.
like blew up on golf Twitter.
There's this
everywhere.
picture. Tiger Woods shaking hands with Vern Lundquist, who's this epic, like this legendary commentator who's retiring after this year's Masters.
Okay.
And he was sitting behind a tree, so it looked like Tiger Woods was shaking hands with a tree.
Hysterical.
That's
Hunter
funny.
texts me the picture. Hey Konner, if Hunter texts me a picture of a guy shaking hands with a tree and you had to caption it for a disc golf meme, you haven't seen any of this stuff. How would you caption it? And what's the direction you
It's
would
just
go?
a pro shaking hands.
You're
with a
shaking
tree.
hands with a tree.
Just probably having something to do with hitting a tree.
and it being like good or bad result after you hit
Bad.
it. Oh.
Okay.
Oh no, like good, like you get lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
Okay.
it,
like he kicks back in the fairway. You're
Okay.
going OB and he kicked back in the fairway. Something like
Wow.
that.
Exactly what I captioned.
Stealer. How dare you?
That's what I'm saying. So Hunter texted me a picture. I captioned it that because obviously, and then somebody had done it who I don't follow on Twitter hours earlier. Guys, I don't see everything.
You know who else had done it hours earlier? Every golf
Yeah,
account.
like, come on,
Every
guys.
single golf account. It's
I didn't
hysterical.
see it. I didn't steal your meme. Like, I mean, you got to be. If you think that I see every little thing that gets posted, I'm like, I'm gonna take that. No,
That's what
we can have the same idea that happens in life. It was
And
really
also people
easy.
people do that with our YouTube channel too, but it goes both ways. There's
Oh
times
my
where we
gosh,
post things
dude.
before other people, and guys, what? We never get fired up about that
No.
publicly.
No. No, but the other one, this dude was
Holy cow,
calling
dude.
me out for like
That just
stealing
confuses me
his
to no
thought, and I
end.
like responded back explaining like, no, I got like fired up about something on Facebook and brought it to Twitter. I hadn't seen your post. I'm
Here-
sorry. And then when he responded, he's like, well, I tagged you in a bunch of stuff, and like, you know, this is the only one. I was like, so I just responded back. I was like, look, me/foundation, because both mentions go to my phone, get tagged and stuff all the time, and of course the ones I'm gonna respond to are the ones that are accusing me of something.
Here's what I
Yeah.
here's
Like,
what I-
like I'm gonna respond to someone accusing me of something before I respond to someone being like, "Yo, I got a YouTube channel. Do you want to collab?"
the
Like,
thought process
yeah.
that I had this morning was, listen, we for our jobs do disc golf media. There's not that much to talk about in disc golf a lot of times. We spend all day looking for things to talk about in disc golf. So if you've had some idea involving disc golf, we've probably either seen it or we've come up with it as well, because that's what we do all day. Like, that's what we just sit here, we look for every possible angle and storyline in
true.
disc golf. So like we're not going out there and stealing people's stuff, man.
yeah,
We just have the same ideas. There's only so many things to think about in the sport of disc golf.
It is funny when you think about that. Like that is literally what we do
Yeah.
all day for
I
our
mean, come
9
on.
to 5.
We would give credit, like we do when if we like legitimately see something that we are taking from, like we.
well,
are
if I
gonna
see a
give
funny
credit.
meme, I just quote tweet it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
exact same engagement whether I posted
Yeah.
or I quote tweeted.
We've never
it.
done something like that. All right, that's it.
That's it.
All right, let's not park
Off
on
the
this
soapbox.
topic. Let's not park on this topic. Let's get to the carport.
Well, it's Trevor's trivia time.
Dang it.
This podcast
Why do you
can
want
be
to talk
long,
about the?
man.
Why do you want to talk about the carport
I think he
so
wants
bad?
to call it a carport.
I do really like calling it a carport.
Okay.
Also, I have a really funny story about how it was introduced to me and my thought process.
Okay.
Okay, this is a fun game. So Brad, All Business Brad, showed
Love
me
that
this. Another podcast did a look. See how I'm giving credit?
That's
Another
awesome,
podcast
Trevor.
did this game, but with a different topic, and I'm bringing it into disc golf.
What was it called? Where can I find them?
I actually will. Look,
Cite your
I'm even
sources.
going to read the. I'm even going to read the name of the.
I think we have to play the entire
podcast.
podcast episode that did it.
The podcast was called The Makeshift Project.
I want it in
They probably
Turabian.
weren't even the first ones to do it,
I want you to cite it in Turabian.
and that's okay. So here's the thing. The name of the game is Don't Say the Same Thing.
Okay.
There are
Okay.
progressive levels where the category I'm going to give you is going to get narrower and narrower and narrower. And you guys
is
are going to
fun.
say a word
At
from
the
that
same
category at the
time.
same time, and you don't want to say
can't
the
say
same
the same
thing. You are not allowed to discuss strategy before I say anything. You cannot discuss. So
we
you
won't.
can't.
Yeah.
Hunter can't be like, well,
I'm
I'm going
ga-
to
I'm
say
here.
the more obvious. You say no strategy.
Yep.
It's going to get. There's 8 levels.
So we
Okay,
just,
Hunter, let's-
okay, I
I'm just
can't talk strategy.
No
but you know where to
strategies.
go.
Yeah.
No strategies.
The fringe.
go.
Okay. Level 1.
I'm scared.
We're gonna say the same.
Level
name.
1.
Is
Name.
it just over when we lose?
Yeah.
Oh dang.
Level 1. Name an Innova mold. Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
3, 2, 1.
Eagle.
Nice.
I love this game. Okay. Level 2. Name an MPO Pro Tour player.
Okay.
You got him?
Yep.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Andrew
Calvin
Presnell.
Heimburg.
That was scary, Con.
That was scary.
Why would you go-
Hey. No discussing. No talking.
Yeah, I'd be ashamed by talking on the podcast.
No, nothing. Level 3. Level 3. Name an FPO Pro Tour player.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Sarah
Holland
Hokum.
Hanley.
Wow. Okay. Level 4. This is where it starts to get a little tricky. Name a Lone Star mold.
Okay.
Okay.
Got him?
Yep.
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Lone
BB-8.
Wolf. Is it called the Lone Wolf?
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I don't even know if it's called the BB-8. But I
Level
think
5.
it
It
is.
is.
BB-6 maybe.
BB.
I
think it's
something.
BB-6.
Close
It's
enough.
BB6. Whatever. Same thing. We did say the same thing.
Level 5. Name a Pro Tour course.
Okay.
Course
Hold
that's
on.
played on the Pro Tour.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
The
Idlewild.
Okay. Level 6. Name a Team Discraft Elite Team player.
Okay.
We're starting to
Okay.
get narrow. 3, 2, 1.
Adam
Chris
Hammonds.
Dickerson.
You say Chris Dickerson?
Yeah.
Adam Hammonds. Okay.
I'm
Only two
so
more
afraid.
levels
I'm
left.
sweating
Hey, we only
right
have 2
now.
more levels. We're doing
Name
great.
You're right. I don't know why I'm so scared. It's not like I'm
Name
gonna
a
get punished.
current Foundation employee.
Current foundation employee.
Okay. How
Ready?
would you pick?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Jonah
Nate.
Burdick. Nice.
What'd you say?
Nate.
He said Nate.
I love Nate.
Okay, final level. This is the hardest one because it's very, very tough. Level 8. Name a disc golf major event.
Okay.
Current disc golf major event.
Yep.
You guys ready?
Yep.
You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
College disc golf
USDGC.
nationals.
Oh!
Get wrecked, John.
I should have specified it more.
Wow, Hunter. I
He
decided to
hacked
just
me.
go with the obvious because I didn't think you were going to.
He hacked me. I should
I
have
was thinking USAMs and Worlds.
I-
Connor's
yeah.
going pro.
I should have definitely
I-
specified that more. You beat me.
Air 5.
Good job.
Me and Hunter are there with our brains.
Good job. I mean, because I will say, like, none of you really like stuck to obvious versus not. Like, you just didn't intersect.
Yeah, we
Good
just
job.
did it. All right, Connor, here you go. MVP, Ulti World posted this, which said the new triple Mando on hole 1 at Maple Hill. And I think what they were going for, I'm going to give them as much context as I can. I think
Okay.
they were going for a covered bridge, which would make
Oh,
sense.
okay.
Massachusetts, I think that's what they were going for.
Like in
Okay.
Beetlejuice.
Okay, never seen it. What it looks like is it looks like they bought a one of those sheds that goes in the backyard that looks like a barn, and then just cut it up to make a triple Mando.
Yes.
Connor likes calling it the carport.
Yeah. Do you mind if I give you the story of how this was introduced to me?
Go for it.
Yes.
I
please.
saw it for the first time whenever you sent this, like the screenshot of it
Mm-hmm.
to me and Trevor. And whenever I first saw it, I didn't see any of like the post or anything because it was just like the preview of the picture. So it was just the carport in the
Okay.
woods. And so I got my phone out as fast as I could and started to type out dibs. And then I realized that this was something disc golf related. For some reason, I thought that like your brother-in-law.
You thought I was just giving away a carport.
Yeah, I thought your brother-in-law or your parents or something
That's
just like
so
had
funny.
a carport sitting in their woods and was like, hey, they're about to tear this down. Anybody want it? And I was like, that's a sweet looking carport. I would like to have that at my house. And then I saw a disc golf basket in the background and I clicked on it and I saw that it was
Here's
for
the
a
deal.
Mando.
Here's the deal.
But I will say,
Go for it.
I now maybe it's because I had in my mind that's a nice carport. So it made me feel like I didn't hate it that much.
It looks nice.
I think it looks nice.
Yeah, it's a very nice structure.
It's way out of place.
Way out of place.
It's an interesting
Maple
place to
Hill
put it.
is Maple Hill is just one of those disc golf courses where it's just naturally beautiful.
Yeah,
like they
that is
used
very true.
the OB on it is like a rock wall. Like they everything about Maple Hill is like they just used the land, the trees. If they want to add something artificial, it's rocks or like everything about it is like that. And then you just throw a bright red barn
The fact that
Yeah.
it's red
onto
doesn't
hole
help.
1.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that it's red.
Like, look, if you want players to go through there, I get it. Great. Okay, you know what accomplishes the same thing? 2 small arrows on the trees. right?
Wasn't
and
it
left.
already a Mando?
I don't know.
I feel like
I'm
it
just
was.
saying.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Like they've clearly won a triple for like the height, but like this just ain't it. By the
It's
time
super
Maple Hill
dumb,
gets
man.
there, this thing better be gone.
And I got to be honest with you, like limiting the height like that when guys already like getting into the correct landing zone on that hole is so hard off that tee. Like, man, it's gonna be weird. Guys are just be denting.
Sometimes
the
you
crap out
need
of
that
it.
height in order to get the pan.
Well,
out.
I saw some people like trying to compare this, be like, oh, why are some people hating this? And then they post a picture of hole 7 at USDGC. USDGC is on a college campus, and it is known for its like
unnatural obstacles and
everything
That's the
on
thing
that
with the whole
course.
event.
Everything
'Cause
on that
also-
course is unnatural.
Because also, here's what I'll say about like hole 7. If they had
there's a
did that,
baseball-
if they
there's a
did that next
baseball.
year, we would have all made fun of it. It's
Yeah.
been there so long that like we admit that it's pretty silly,
but it's just historic.
but it's part of the course. And like you said,
and it fits the
that-
vibe of the rest of the course.
that course uses gimmicks all over. There's mozzarella sticks, and we make fun of this stuff when it pops up. We do. Like,
And you
Yeah,
play
they
around
put
a baseball
Christmas trees.
stadium.
They put Christmas trees in
Yeah.
front of but Maple Hill was like, it was like one of the only disc golf courses that has like perfectly used
Let me look
just
at it
stuff that fits.
It gives me like
And then
Eagles
they did
Crossing.
this.
It gives me like Eagles Crossing.
It's awful.
vibes.
It's awful.
Not in like a bad way. Just like Eagles Crossing is like they use
I don't
unnatural
like it.
obstacles. That's like kind of like one of the things they do on that course. And
Somewhat,
but
yeah.
It's just I mean like with the big animals and stuff. It wouldn't.
Well,
seem
those aren't
super
really
out of place.
obstacles.
Yeah,
You just,
you're right.
if you
that's
threw
our
too deep,
gallery, Connor. How dare you?
Well, I just mean like it doesn't.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They
it
have
just
this,
that train thing.
You're right.
But hey, the good news is this was leaked in April. We don't play there till September.
Oh, it'll still be there.
And that thing better be gone.
I think most disc golfers will actually disagree with us. Or is there a consensus on Reddit?
I don't know. I haven't even tried to look because I
Like,
saw it. I know
think-
my opinion.
I think people are probably going to hate us for
My
this one,
quote tweet
but
was,
I don't
when is the
like it.
windmill being added? Because
Yeah.
that's what it looked like. Was like, I'm supposed to hit through that in golf,
It's-
and I better hope the windmill doesn't stop it.
Hey, but whenever
Like-
whenever you guys do inevitably listen to the people and take this down, I know exactly where I could put that carport.
Yeah.
So I
I don't think
I'll
it's
take
deep
it from
enough
you.
for a carport. I don't think it's deep enough. I don't think it would protect your car.
Well,
I hate to tell
I
you.
got really short cars.
Yeah,
All
she's
right.
got short cars, man.
That's it for the Maple Hill one. Just you got time. Let's take
We
it
got
down.
a heck
Let's
of
take it down.
topics this week.
Final thing to talk about here as we probably wrap the show up is Music City Open posted and said this year's Music City Open is using X-Step Pro turf from Disc Concepts at Mill Ridge, which will also be the standard for DGPT events starting in 2025.
Yeah.
We've already
Sounds
received
intense.
amazing feedback regarding the turf Teapads from participants during the MCO test event. The storyline here is this was kind of the first time it's been leaked, to my knowledge, that DGPT events in 2025 will have
That's what
standard
I'm saying.
Teapads.
Why is the Music City Open the one posting this? Is what I was most confused at. Like, I'm surprised that the Pro Tour wasn't the first one to say something about this. Like, announce a deal.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just that was the interesting thing for me. What I will say is, man, I hope they're nice because they're gonna be under a microscope. The plus and minus, the give and take of being the company that secures these standardizations, because I think the basket one is coming next, is you have the benefit of like everybody who installs a course is going to want the Pro Tour standard one, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the highest standard. Your name's going to get out there. But on the flip side, you are now going to be the most scrutinized product on the market because if there's any issues, we know exactly who made it.
Yeah.
The same thing would happen with the baskets, and it's kind of unavoidable. That's just the nature of taking on a deal like this. But hey, I hope they're great.
Yeah, it looks like it was used at the Portland Open in 2022.
Yeah, they look nice.
It's tough to tell until you stand on it. I'll try to get my feet on it in Music City. I'll be there. So
Oh,
I'll
there
try
you go.
to.
Yes,
I'll try to
Teapad
sneak.
Give us a good plant.
I'm only gonna have a general admission pass, so I don't know how close I'll be able to get to a Teapad.
Just
But
ask somebody.
I think I'll just send it.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of electric to get
Post
arrested.
round.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Just,
Post
like,
round or
hop on
pre round, just like,
or, like-
I'm gonna just on my way out of the event, just walk and
Yeah.
do a little one quick X step and then keep walking.
Yeah.
Just so we have a little
easily.
report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so we kind of know.
That's good.
But yeah, it's very interesting. So this is you
How
can
much
go
do
on
they
their
cost?
website.
Can you buy them?
I think
They
it's
probably ask for a
contact.
quote.
I would love
Let's
to know
see,
like
shop.
the
Oh, here we go.
technology that goes into it.
5 foot by 10 foot X Step Pro Turf Teapad, 9 Teapads. Oh, one Teapad's $250 for a 5
That's
foot by
not
10
bad.
foot. That's not bad at all.
If
18
they are truly really nice.
That's 5 foot by 10 foot. Now,
What
you
are
can
they
go
doing
bigger.
different?
You can also get Pro Drain Power Frame substrate.
I'm gonna need
I don't know what that
A
is.
few Pro Drain power frames.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly fun.
What's a substrate?
Oh, they can also do custom event
It's like
turf. Oh, here's an interesting one. They say custom event turf, and the screenshot they use is the turf for the distance contest at USDGC.
So they'll cut it to size, basically.
You can also buy a cedar base frame from them. They'll build you a base
Can
frame.
they have like the event like written on
It
it?
doesn't look like it.
That
would be sick.
why not?
That'd be sick.
I don't know.
They need to start
It's the
doing
highest
that.
quality of turf available to the sport of disc golf, according to them. Made in USA. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
All right, hoo-ha.
So there you go. But hey, this was leaked from Music City that this is apparently the 2025 standard Teapad.
Good job.
They went
Hunt.
turf.
Good job, Hunt.
Thank you. There you go. It's
This episode's had it all.
Do we want to try to change our top 10 at all, or just?
I don't know if I have it in me right now.
Okay, I think I'm feeling the same way. I think we do Silas
we've been
selects and
going
we
on long
get
enough.
out of here. I think we Silas select out of here.
I think
Okay.
it would take my last brain cell.
This is a Prodigy A3.
You dog.
Prodigy A3 from Con.
Yeah.
T-Dog.
No, from Prodigy.
In Innova
Nah, you're wrong. Dead wrong.
T-Bird.
I want a
You're
Venom.
dead wrong.
I want a Venom.
Venom.
I think Silas was thinking AB.
I'm gonna literally cry, dude. That is good. That's a good thought process, though, Hun. He was watching highlights of AB.
It's not a Venom. I think we're all wrong.
What the heck is that?
Is that a?
It's a mid. None of us guessed mid. Well, you kind of did.
No, it looks like.
Gosh,
Is that
I'm
Gateway
stuck.
disc? What is that?
A Rhino.
Champ Rhino.
No, Champ Rhino.
Silas does it again.
Champ Rhino.
I was
man.
closest.
He is the best in the business.
He's
at stumping
so
us.
good
What's
at
his
this.
record now? Like 15-0.
No one has
really
stumped
good,
us
but
like
not
Silas
good.
stumps us. That's what we should start calling it, the Silas Stumps.
Okay.
Okay, Silas stumps.
All right, well, tune in later this week for the Music City Open recap. If you're going to be at Music City, swing by the Foundation booth. I'll be there on and off throughout the day. Robbie C will be there.
And we're
You
gonna
can
have
meet
sick
Jason.
hats potentially.
And we'll potentially have sick hats.
Connor's potentially wearing the hat that you potentially could buy.
Potential.
I feel like at this point now it just has to happen. I think I just forced our hand.
You might have. There will also be some more of the Robbie C Birdie Blend Wizards.
If you really want that hat
there?
that Connor's wearing, comment down below super
Sorry.
hard. Then I'll extra force their hand.
There you go. All right.
Hunter, are these shirts
Oh, and the Robbie
on our
Blunt
website?
Wizards are sick.
Bye.
The one I'm
Goodbye.
wearing are.
Okay.
You got it, and the one I'm wearing is.
I'll wait.
There you go. All right. We'll talk to you later, ladies and gents.